And welcome inside the Backstage Pass, another day and another show as we close out the remaining of year of 2023 with about 15, 20 shows left over the next couple of weeks. You can check us out at 10 Mountain Time out there, our syndication station out there, KKTC True Country 99.9, and also the LMNOC, the streaming app out there, LMNOC Broadcasting that owns those 6 stations out there too. And of course, HighTideCountry.net as we're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and of course Honky Tonk Texas. Been trying to put this together for a while, and my featured artist of the day, notice I said artist because there's two of them and not just one here, is the group called Goldpine. The brand new album called Two is across all the digital platforms. Ben, Cass, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having us. I'm glad that our schedules finally lined up.
That's the tough part, going through the Rolodex here and trying to match a time with a schedule now and make sure these things match up too. Well, I tell you what, you guys, no stranger to music. Y'all been doing this a while. In fact, definitely known by another name before you guys changed to Goldpine. I got a chance to check out a lot of this album too. But kind of tell me, Ben, I'll start right there. How it got started when you met Cassie. You kind of knew she was the one. I guess love at first sight, I guess you could say, or at least I read somewhere out there. And then coming together to perfect this thing called Goldpine.
Yeah, you did read that out there somewhere.
I did.
But you read it backwards, actually.
Okay.
Cassie actually.
It was me.
It was you. Okay.
Was love at first sight for Cassie.
All right, there you go.
Back in 2006, at a small church outside of Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And Cassie was already here in Nashville. She was here to sing country music. And I had moved here to go to audio production school. And we both just met at this small church. There was probably 20 people going in the congregation.
Very small.
And Cassie knew that she just
I laid my
needed
eyes on him. He was playing guitar in the praise and worship band, which consisted of two people, him and Brother Leroy. And I just thought he was so good looking, and I still think you are. But it was kind of like, I know he's the one. And we've been married 14 years now. We've been together 16.
I love that story. It's just such a great story there. Well, let's dive into a little bit of the music too, because there's a lot to talk about off this new record too. And you guys did put out a record called 1-2 as well, which I love the song Wander Away, which was fantastic too. So that's kind of the version of the number 2 record now too. But let's back up a little bit to last year and the 1 record I mentioned there. Wander Away was one of my favorite tracks I got to check out off the album too. Kind of hit on some of the highlights for me a little bit. And this one that just dropped as the 2 album is fantastic as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was our, obviously being called it was called number 1, and that was our first introduction as Goldpine. Yeah. As I think, as you mentioned earlier, we were called by another name before that, but we thought 1 was going to be the perfect name of introducing us, because we had come together as one artist. We were formally called My One and Only. It's our first record as Goldpine. So yeah, I love a lot of the songs on it. I think my favorite probably is Wander Away. Also, I love the vocal stacked harmonies on there that Cassie, I don't know how she recorded all that in one take, but it's so amazing.
I'm amazing. Yeah. And so our second album was called 2, and the next one is going to be called 3. And now you're getting it.
You get it. I like that. Yes. Which is
we just try to keep it simple for our fans and for ourselves too.
I thought that was really cool. I thought another couple off there that really stood out with vocals and really cool instrumentation. About My Baby. Let's talk about that one and dissect that a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, About My Baby. Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, that one's about Cassie.
Okay.
We were in Marysville, Marshall County, Kansas, doing an artist in residency program out there for a few weeks. And it happened to be Valentine's Day on this tour. And, when you're out on the road, it's really hard to do the normal things that people can do when they're at home and can go to stores and be away from their significant other and whatnot. So I wasn't prepared for Valentine's Day that year. I didn't have anything ready, and we were in the hotel, and I pulled out a sheet of paper and started making a homemade Valentine's Day card, and I was writing things on it like, I love you in Marshall County, Kansas. And I love you in Dallas, Texas, and all these different places that we travel. And so I made this card and I gave it to Cassie, and I think she loved it.
I did.
But we thought we would turn that into a song. So now what started as a homemade Valentine's Day card in Marshall County, Kansas, is etched into plastic on 200 vinyl records that are all sold out by now.
Wow. Yes, I love that too. And also the new one is available for the vinyl records. I'm sure there's been a lot of orders for the #2 album out there too. I saw that too, and may have to talk to you guys about getting one of those because I collect a lot of the vinyl and I keep that just in a stack, and it's really cool to play it on just a brand new record player that I bought too as well. The name is really cool because I loved it too. They're definitely Goldpine, and the pine part, if I'm not mistaken, Cassie, was this growing up in Alabama? Was there a thing called Pines Road? Is that correct?
Yeah, so I am from Alabama. I was born in Coleman, but I was raised in Summerville, Alabama, and we lived on Pines Road. And so I don't know, we just kind of wanted to make up our own word. And when we were thinking about a band name, I just always loved that road. And so that we decided like the pine part of gold would be like kind of like my past. So that's kind of our past. And then gold is the element that even if it goes through fire or anything, it only gets better.
True.
And so we thought, hopefully that's our future. And so we just made up our own word, Goldpine.
Which I thought was a very snappy name for a band too. You know, one of the ones that it took me off the record, one was definitely the song "When I Get to Heaven," and I just lost a very significant family member for me over the past few weeks too. And man, it just really, a song like that just really hits home. Talk about the writing and just the collaboration there, because man, that's just so true. You know, knowing we're all going to be there one day, and it's like, man, that is just such a song that really just captivates a lot of music fans out there.
Yeah, thank you. I love that song too. I love how Cassie wails on the end of that song. It goes over well live. People love it live. Yeah, I started writing that song probably 6 or 7 years ago. And it's funny how some songs happen is I believe I had a portion of the song, maybe it was a verse or something, and I loved it. And just for years could not figure out how to finish this song. Where do I go from here lyrically? Where do I go melodically? And then we got together probably a couple years back and finally finished that song. And that's happened with another song on that first album, One, too. It's funny how songwriting goes. But I remember I initially started writing that song because I, like everybody, get stressed sometimes. And it's just, life can be a lot on you. There's so many different things you have to do and so many time constraints and whatnot. And sometimes I picture myself in like this heavenly place, kind of laying under a tree, and just like this perfect atmosphere, and me and Jesus are there. And it's just like this perfect place, and everything kind of is suitable to you. And I guess in my mind and in my spirit, sometimes I go there just to be more at rest in a tough life like this. And so I was thinking about that kind of thing when I started writing When I Get to Heaven. And yeah, I guess it turned out to be a song that people can relate to when, like you said, when family members have passed and whatnot, because that is the hope that we have as believers. And if we didn't have that hope, boy, that'd be rough.
Yeah, it would be rough, and actually today, the family member I lost today was their birthday at the same time. So it's kind of a tough situation there too. But when I listen to something like that, man, it really gets me through these tough times, learn how to cope with things like that. And It never gets any easier because we've all lost someone who's near and dear to us too. It's at the same time, but different songs, and especially a song like that, really, gets me through some tough times. But I commend you for that one. To us all have that hope and belief that there is the other side of the tracks that is going to be better for a lot of us.
For
one
sure.
day to cross over and see those loved ones again too, and be able to hug them and tell them how much we missed them, and thanks for saving a seat right beside there too. We'll come back after a timeout here, friends, at Bangtail Whiskey. It's the holidays coming up too, so drink responsibly, but do it with our friends at bangtail.com, and of course Easy Liquor, Total Wine and Specs. Make sure it's a great holiday with Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at honkytonktexas.us out there for their concert schedule and all the great promotions they have going on out there too. More with Goldpine here with the backstage pass again. KKTC 99.9 True Country out there at 10 Mountain Time too on the great state of New Mexico, in Taos, New Mexico, and up into Colorado, Ski Town, and of course hightidecountry.net, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com too as well. We'll have a little sports talk maybe at the end of this today for the interview with Goldpine. We're going to come back and dive into the number 2 album coming up here. Quick timeout of friends at Bangtail Whiskey, coming right back with the group Goldpine. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And, of course, tomorrow, friend Walker Montgomery will stop by. He'll finish out the week there. And next week, a full slate of shows. Mike Meyerson coming by with the group Heartland, and a whole lot more out there. Ray Scott, Ashley Ray, and just keeping busy here on the Backstage Pass again. Powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com and out there at KKTC 99.9 True Country in Taos, New Mexico, and up into Colorado. And stream us at hightidecountry.net and via the LMNOC streaming app out there back here, presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. The group Goldpine joining us here, Ben and Cassie. Sticking with that one album before I get to the number 2 album too, which is titled number 2 for that reason. I loved Bones Like a Bird, but I got to listen to that one. I thought that was one of my favorites too.
Thank you.
That was you.
Yeah, I wrote most of the lyrics on that one. Boy, we haven't played that in such a long time. What is that song even about? No, it's really about I don't know, when people have a weak, what you think is a weakness in their personality, sometimes that weakness can also be a strength. In fact, many times it is. For instance, like sensitivity. And that's kind of what Bones Like a Bird is about, a very sensitive person. The sensitivity can be like such a great thing in certain circumstances, in relationships and all sorts of situations. But you get to a place to where you realize that sensitivity can also hinder you and hinders you from moving forward. Maybe you're too sensitive about people's input or people's critiques and whatnot. And so that song's just kind of a story about the good and bad of a sensitive person.
It really is too, and it really hits home in a lot of different ways. This album you guys just put out back in early September, the number 2 album too, which is out there across all the digital platforms. All these songs are for you guys listening pleasure wherever you download or stream music. Do You Have Me was one of those that really projected Cass's vocals out there too, I thought, and what a great way to lead off a record.
Yeah, thank you. Did we write that together, or was that mostly you?
I think it was your idea.
Oh.
And then we wrote it together.
That's usually sometimes how it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that our first single? That was our first single off of 2. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I love it when we write something where I can just really get it at the end. And so, well, actually that was all throughout. But it's such a fun song to sing live too. I love that one.
When you guys are out there performing on the road, talk about that too. Just the crowds and making the new fans and having those different crowds sing those songs, those tunes back to you, or for the first time, just say hitting a stage at maybe a place that you've never played before, and you guys are making new fans out there too. Maybe somebody does not know the group Goldpine, but they bought a ticket to that show. I mean, how does that make you guys feel going through that process of knowing your performers, your country music artists with a little bit of Americana sprinkled in there too, and just meeting and greeting with fans who are, paying their hard-earned money to come to a show?
Well, I'm very grateful to be able to do what we love. And so we're in like a new season of our life. And this year we played over 200 shows, and we've got to meet so many people, and we travel around in our van that's been converted into a tiny home. And so we're really able to just be out on the road like a lot. And there's nothing more fulfilling than like playing a show and then getting to talk to people after the show and hearing how your music has touched them or spoke to them or made them think or influenced them in some way, or just a connectivity with them. It's just a really special moment. And I'm so glad that we're getting to use our gifts, but that we're getting to be out there doing it, Like I said, this is a new season. We haven't ever been able to tour this much before. And it is exhausting, but the payoff is so wonderful too.
Yeah, and this record really showcases. I mentioned that one. I loved also thinking about love. Got to dive into that particular song, and then my favorite parts of you. Breaking those two songs down. Give us a little backstory how they came together.
Well, my favorite parts of you is a song that we wrote about my mama. My mom was sick for about 3 years, and one of the last times that she was in the hospital, we wrote that song for her, and went back to the hospital and sang it for her. And I tell you what, that song has had so much favor in our life and in our career. My mom passed away 2 years ago in June, and it's just like, man, it's so beautiful to see how it unfolds, because we've won songwriting contests with this song, or all these doors have been opened because of my mom and because of her song. And so that's my favorite song we've ever written. It was the easiest, most effortless song. It just came straight from my heart. And I love that song, and I miss her like crazy. But I'm so glad that I get to pretty much every show talk about her, share her song, and connect with people that are also hurting, because there's nothing like a mama's love, and you only get one. And so I'm just glad I had mine as long as I did.
Yeah, that's something there too. And I can tell you from the hurt of it too was a couple of weeks ago, my dad lost him, and it just it takes you another down another road, and it's hard to focus and do much of anything. But they would want you to keep pushing on. It's amazing how these things in life kind of unexpected situations out there occur, and it's a tough situation. I wanted to talk to you guys about speaking of that songwriter contest. Y'all participated one for the Red Lodge Songwriter Festival for the Rocky Mountain Songwriter Contest. Talk about just going through an experience like that, because that is one of the top songwriter kind of contest nationwide too.
First of all, it was such a shock that we got selected as a finalist. And I always tell this story on stage because it's funny. We got the email that we were selected as a finalist, and they picked 20 people, and they said, we want you to come to the festival. You get to perform your song at the festival at this beautiful theater, and you just sing one song. You, unfortunately, they couldn't pay you, and you provide your own way to the festival, and you had to find your own place to stay. And you have to check in at 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday. And I was like, whoa. And so we Googled it, and it was a 24-hour drive from Nashville.
Wow.
And we were like, yeah, we're going.
You're going.
So we went, we slept in our van in the parking lot of their local grocery store, and then showed up for sound check at 8. And we ended up winning the entire contest. And that contest has totally just the favor that we've had with that song, but it's specifically that contest, the connectivity and the family that we've kind of acquired through that contest with the people of Red Lodge, and just all the doors that have opened from that has been mind blowing to see God kind of show out and show favor on that, especially from something that is such a, like a hard place, you know, like from such a broken heart, but to make something so beautiful come from it.
Well, and this album's got, like I said, a little bit of something for everybody on it too, man. Going through those life experiences, and he really showcases harmonies and vocals, and it's just beautiful instrumentation. And I consider you guys a top rising duo in the industry right now, somebody to look out for. And usually, I'm pretty correct on that here on this show. You guys have known me for almost the last 5 years too, and now being on some major country radio too, that we play a lot of these artists that we get to interview. Take my word for it. Who am I? I'm a music show host. I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about out there too. And Goldpine is definitely rising up the charts out there too as well. We'll come back. Final segment. Quick timeout for our friends at Banktail Whiskey and of course Honky Tonk Texas. We're going to talk about 2 more songs off the album, 2, as we come back here. KKTC 99.9 True Country, Taos, New Mexico, and the LMNOC broadcast app. You can stream us out there at 10 Mountain Time and out there at hightidecountry.net. And we'll throw a little rapid fire at Cass and Ben coming back here on the Backstage Pass. Stay tuned. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And of course, next week, a couple of great shows. An artist named Dasha will come by, and also Troy Cartwright, a fantastic songwriter too as well, and also Ryan Larkins here in January. If you don't know Ryan Larkins, you might want to stick around for that. He wrote the Painter for Cody Johnson. He'll be coming up here in a few weeks here on the Backstage Pass. Also, James Otto coming by. We'll talk about a new Christmas song that James Otto put out here on the Backstage Pass. We'll talk more about that and a whole lot more over the next few weeks, as we're up until December 21st, somewhere in there. And then we'll take a couple of weeks off to celebrate Christmas with our families and come back with shows about January 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there too, as we're back here at KKTC 99.9 True Country in Taos, New Mexico, the LMNOC streaming app, and at hightidecountry.net. All right, final segment before I get to it. Rapid fire. I do want to talk about a couple songs off of here too that I thought were fantastic. Again, the record too is across all the digital platforms for your listening pleasure. The Conductor was very interesting. I like that one, Ben.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I love that song too. It's not one that we play live very often because it's really hard to find a place for a song like that sometimes in a live set.
In the set list.
But, going deep here, that song is about back in last year. I think it was October of last year. There was, Ukraine and Russia were having the whole thing, and still going on. But there was a conductor there, and he was enlisted. He was Ukrainian, and he was enlisted by the Russians to basically conduct his ensemble for an event that the Russians were putting on. But the event was a party celebrating the occupation of Russia in a territory of Ukraine, right? So nobody in Ukraine is happy about this, but the Russians are coming in and just having a party. Hey, we're here, let's celebrate this occupancy. And so they hire this Ukrainian conductor to do this party. And the conductor refuses. He refuses to be a part of this because he doesn't agree with what the Russians are doing. And this is international news, by the way. You can look it up anywhere. In a couple days, they found this conductor dead in his house. he was executed by the Russians because he wouldn't take part in what they wanted him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because the thing that caught me the most about the whole situation is that here there's one group coming in saying, this is how occupation is going to be. It's not going to be that bad. It's going to be great. You know, we're putting on this party to show you that what's going on with what we're doing. And yet the way that they show how great their occupancy is going to be is by executing someone who's refuses to be a part of it. And so it just struck me that juxtaposition, and I had to write the song about it.
Well, you did a great job too, and that's what this show's all about, is going in depth with these songs and making sure we tell the whole story too. And the last one off there, we'll talk before I get into a rapid fire. I thought was really cool, and we've all been through it, or at least know somebody who has. Estate Sale, which wrapped up the record, which I thought was another good spin on a tune that you guys had put out there. Talk about that one for us.
Yeah, so that song, I love that song too. And I normally don't write a lot of stuff by myself, but I wrote most of that song by myself. And then Ben just polished it and made it wonderful. But I was taking a walk through our neighborhood, and there was an elderly couple that lived down the street, and the husband had already passed away like a year prior. Mm-hmm. And I was walking, and I noticed that there was an estate sale going on at the house. And I knew Miss Betty was alive. And so I went in and I was like, what's going on? And they said, you know, Miss Betty's has been moved into a nursing home. And when her husband passed, we went in to visit her and sat on her couch, and she and her husband were together for like 70 years. And she shared all these stories with us, and his nickname was Slugger. And wow. She showed us pictures. Mm-hmm. And so we had been in the house before, and just knowing the backstory of how long they had been together, as I was walking through the house, looking at all of their stuff, all of their memories, everything mm-hmm. that they had worked their entire life to build, it just struck me that everything they had was sold in 2 days. And so I just came home and started writing that song. And yeah, like, I know this sounds crazy, but I don't listen to our music often, but I did listen to that song the other day, and I started crying. I cried at my own song. And it's just because, man, you think about that. Like, literally all we do as humans is like try to get more and more and more and have all this stuff and work so hard, and then attain the things that we have. And then in 2 days, it's all gone. I don't know. And so that's where Estate Sale came from. And it was kind of hard trying to find a place to put it on the album, but at the end, I think was just where it should have been.
Yeah, it definitely, again, summed up a record that makes you think about a lot of things in life. Is it materialistic stuff, or is it just enjoying time with the family and spending time with the loved ones and the friends and the time we have on this borrowed time that we're on this earth? No doubt about it too. And that's it's amazing where these great song ideas come from. So I commend you for really sticking to it and writing a beautiful song such as that. All right, we'll have a little fun with this one. Series of funny questions. I like to call it rapid fire. Sometimes it's not so rapid, but it's always fun to get it out there on the personal side. My listeners get to know you guys a little bit more too. All right, favorite date night together. Is there a restaurant or somewhere to go that you like to do something?
So we have Regal unlimited passes. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yes, I do.
So you can go every single day. Yep. So our favorite thing to do is to go to Regal and see a movie. Last night we had a date night, and so that's what we did. And we love to go to the movies, and we love to eat Thai food.
There you That's my favorite things to do right there. That's actually a good idea. I got to redo my Regal pass to get some of those.
We renewed ours. Shout out to Regal. We love you.
I think it's always fun to go catch a movie. I'm going to have one tomorrow night because my kids' daycare thing has got like the parent night out. So I get to go do that and then let her be there for a movie and some food and whatever else. And I always, I'm like, I'll pay whatever it is because it's just a fee. And I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the night out with the significant other too. All right. When it comes to pizza, that's my favorite food. So I got to stick with food, the food category here. Is it collection of just like one pizza, you guys share it? Now I know for me it's like two different pizzas because what I like and my wife likes is two different toppings on it. What toppings go on the Goldpine pizza, either together or maybe separate?
I love pizza, by the way.
Okay.
I always, no matter what else is on it, I always have sausage on it.
Okay.
So
yep.
sausage, pepperoni, maybe sausage and banana peppers, or
Okay.
just sausage.
Mhm.
That's what I'm doing.
I mean, I love pizza too. I like a lot of things on it, but I usually will just, because of him, I'll kind of go in the same category as him. But honestly, I just love meat, like all meat
All
pizza. Some hot sauce and dip it in some ranch.
See, you're like me. You love the ranch. You've got to do
Yep.
ranch
Every time.
Every time, too. No doubt about it. All right, we'll finish with this one, too, as well, because I can't wait to see 2024 for you guys. I know there's albums and music and things to talk about there, so we'll definitely have you back on. Favorite show to binge watch together? What do you like to, what series?
The Office.
Oh,
Okay.
The Office, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So when there's nothing else to watch, we watch that. But we also have recently really been into, it's called Special Forces.
Okay.
And you want to tell them about Special Forces?
Special Forces is like it's on Hulu, and they
Okay.
take, well, sometimes they take celebrities, but sometimes they take general regular people, I hate to say it. And they put them through the selection of like Special Forces training,
Mhm.
and it's like 10 days, and they run them through everything, and it's just amazing to see, first of all, who doesn't make it, because only a few people usually make it through the end. And then it's amazing to see how far you can push yourself and your body.
Mhm.
I mean, I love it. We
It's
love it.
good. It's really
I'll
good.
check that out, Special Forces, and make sure I put that on a binge watching list out there. Well, I tell you what, I want to tell you both happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and looking forward to a great new year. This is a fantastic duo. Looking forward to some big things next year. I can't wait to talk about, goals and aspirations, things for next year. This album is fantastic. Guys, if you have not downloaded the 2 album out there, you need to go check it out across all the digital platforms, all the songs available for download and streaming. Wherever you guys do that. Thank you both for being on. Hope you enjoyed the visit. Let's do this again in 2024.
Would
Yeah,
love to.
thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it. It was great to meet you and hope to see you face to face one day.
Hey, we're trying to get back. I applied for it's never a guarantee, but one of my favorite things to do is to cover the country radio seminar. So we get the big convention there. They moved it back again from March to late April. So, not April, to February. So hopefully instead of March, it felt like April last year, but now the end of February for those 3 days. If we get back there, we'd love to have you guys come by the Omni, stop by and see us and be a part of the lineup out there for Country Radio Seminar. But of course, first you got to get those credentials, no doubt. And I will tell you guys, check out the 2 album and be sure and visit goldpinemusic.com for tour dates and more information out there in 2024. We'll see you guys back tomorrow. Walker Montgomery just made his Grand Ole Opry debut with Uncle Eddie and, of course, his dad, John Michael. We'll talk about that, too, just a few days ago, and a lot more coming up next week here on the show with more great artists coming by. KKTC 99.9 True Country, and you can check us out at 10 Mountain Time, the LMNOC broadcast app out there, which plays nonstop hits of all the great country songs out there, too. And, of course, HighTideCountry.net. Our thanks to Honky Tonk Texas and Bangtail Whiskey for keeping us going out there, too, on the sponsorship side. And, of course, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow about 4 o'clock. Walker Montgomery here on the Backstage Pass and one of his top songs, Work to Do. We'll talk about that and his new EP and then some. Until then, have a great night. Take care.